Hello everyone, I'm Manav and you are watching that one show which satisfies your hunger for everything automotive right at one place. Welcome to the Times Drive Show. Now just like every time, this time as well, there's a lot of action that we've lined up for you. So let's take a look at what's coming your way over the next half an hour. We're going to start off with the Mini JCW Countryman All-4, which promises the golden trifecta of performance, premiumness and practicality. That's not it. From the world of electric, we have the high-profile Tesla Model Y, and we'll find out if it makes any sense in a city like Delhi. And from the world of two-wheelers, we have the new Royal Enfield Hunter 350, which has got some important updates for the year 2025. So as you can see, there's a lot of action that's coming your way, and yes, we are being accompanied by the Kia Ceros. Now, cars like the Ceros are quite rare because these are designed with practicality in mind, and as a result, their value quotient happens to be quite high. But if you want a compact size factor with premiumness, then the first brand that will come to your mind is Mini. Now, in their lineup, the Mini Countryman is the perfect example of that. Up until now, it was only available in an electric drivetrain option in the Indian market, but now they've gone all out and brought the John Cooper Works package with the Mini Countryman, which offers a lot of performance. And speaking of performance, there's only one place to test it out, which is India's own Formula One racetrack, the Budh International Circuit. So come with me as we go for a ride in the Mini JCW Countryman All-4. Now, what happens when you take a Mini and turn things to the max? Well, if you were to do that in terms of space, then what you would get is the Mini Countryman, which up until now was only available as an electric vehicle drivetrain. Now, however, Mini is turning things up. They've come out with this, the Mini JCW Countryman All-4, and we are here at the Budh International Circuit to take it for a spin. Let's start with the design, and right away, the first thing I want to mention is the size of the car. In typical Mini fashion, the car hides its proportions in pictures and footage rather well, but when you see it in person, you realize the almost 4.5 meter long car with almost 3 meter long wheelbase has a substantial presence. And since the Countryman now gets the John Cooper Works package, or JCW in short, you get to see elements like the handsome 19-inch alloy wheels, red brake calipers, and the sporty side skirt with the larger bumper as well. There's also an interesting mix of colors, and I especially liked the black and red color combination. Last but not the least, what's sure to stand out are the quad-tip exhausts, which are actually functional and not only for show. Now, if you talk about interiors, well, this is the part of the car that I absolutely like. I really like these red accents on the dashboard. Even the material is very different. It feels really unique to the touch. And speaking of unique, you have this circular infotainment system. Now, I've not been a big fan of this because I think the performance of the screen could have been better, but this car is all about the driving experience. If you go to this experiences toggle, it doesn't say driving modes, and if you select John Cooper Works, you get this really nice Yahoo from the speakers and this really good looking information set that is very sporty. I really like that. Other than that, you have this vegan friendly seat fabrics on the seat, and overall it is a place of high quality. Everything is built well, the materials used is top notch, and this cabin feels very premium. Special mention goes to the steering wheel, where we not only see a JCW badge, but also this very interesting use of fabric in the steering wheel, adding to that feeling of sportiness. And while the dashboard looks unique, maintaining this in dusty cities like Delhi, well, that is a concern. Now, since this is a Countryman, if I were to sit here at the back and set the front seat as per my height, for reference I'm 5'10", you can see I still have loads of knee room, leg room, and decent amount of headroom on offer as well. Although if you're over 6 feet tall, you might find this space a little bit cramped. I have this drop-down armrest, and overall, I can get really comfortable over here as well. And I think this can be actually used as a proper four-seater. Last but not the least, on the practicality front, well, not only do you get an electrically operated boot lid, but you also get this spacious 500-liter boot space capacity as well. And as you can see, it's pretty deep. You can fit in quite a decent amount of luggage over here for your weekend adventures and for those airport runs. So on the practicality front, nothing to complain. The highlight of the story though is under the hood. This is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that makes 300 horsepower and 400 Newton meters of torque, which is capable of taking this car from 0 to 100 in 5.4 seconds and all the way to an electronically limited top speed of 250 kilometers per hour. But now, let's get to driving. And to experience all of those numbers, we were driving around the Budh International Circuit. During our time, the first thing that stood out was just how responsive the drivetrain really is. The power and torque buildup is linear and most of the punch lies in the mid-range of the RPM band. What really makes everything work though is the quick 7-speed dual-clutch automatic gearbox, which, when coupled with the punchy engine, made attacking those corners rather intuitive. Being an all-4, as the name suggests, you get an all-wheel drive system which also helps in taking those corners at higher speeds. But keep in mind, given that it has an impressive 190mm ground clearance, and as mentioned before, it is a sizable car, there is some body roll to be dealt with. But then again, it is not an all-out sports car, but rather a very nice mix of practicality, space, and performance. So to sum it all up, we've driven the Mini Countryman very briefly at the Budh International Circuit today, but it's given us a taste of what this car packs. And that is the whole story of the Countryman up until now. It gives you space, it gives you that peace of mind to take those bad patches of roads without worrying about too many things. Now, however, with the JCW package, it has performance in oodles as well. So I think this is a great weekday car for your weekend commutes, but also a car that you can take for those weekend adventure getaways as well. So I think the Mini Countryman actually brings a lot to the table. So that was the Mini Countryman JCW All-4, but now in that price bracket, if you're someone who often prefers cars on the electric side of things, then there is also one more high-profile electric luxury car that's made its way to the Indian market, which is Tesla Model Y. Now, Tesla as a brand has everything going for it. Everyone knows what this brand is all about. But a car like Model Y, well, does it make sense in a place like Delhi? Let's go to Ankur and find out.
Let's go back 5-6 years. If we talk about 2019 or 2020, the aspiration and the excitement around the Tesla brand in the Indian market and in the minds of Indian consumers was quite high. However, over the last 5 years, that excitement seems to have faded somewhat. One reason for this is that in the past 5 years, electric vehicles brought to the Indian market by the Indian car manufacturers and some international car brands offer almost the same technology that Tesla provides in its car. Yes, reliability varies from brand to brand, depending on how dependable their technology is. But in terms of technology, Tesla is considered top tier. What does this car offer in terms of technology, space, design, and range? We will talk about that. And overall, how practical is Tesla's Model Y at this price point? That's what I'm going to discuss with you in this video.
Now let's talk about the design first of this Tesla Model Y, which overall, if I would say, looks simplistic yet modern from front, side and rear end as well. Over here you get the LED strip and the DRLs and headlamps, LED headlamps over here, and there's camera in the bottom section of the bumper, and there are sensors and all the stuff that Tesla offers in terms of technology in their cars. And there's also a camera over here. The overall side profile is also quite simplistic yet modern in terms of design, if we talk about that. And again, in terms of rear end also, you'll get that simplistic yet modern yet some futuristic feel in the rear section of this car. There's Tesla branding in the rear, and there is the variant branding, which is this long range variant. There are two variant options. One is with the 500 kilometer claimed range, another one which is the long range one. It offers around 622 kilometer of claimed range with this Tesla Model Y. Now, apart from the rear design, the overall boot space that you get in the Model Y is around 822 liters, which is more than enough to keep your stuff, to keep your luggage. And there's also powered buttons to adjust the rear seats in case you want more space, so you can use this feature to control the second row seats of this Tesla Model Y. And the main screen, you can see the navigation here as well. And I would say this navigation that Tesla offers in their car is not so reliable, especially in Indian conditions. And also, they do not offer Android Auto and Apple CarPlay in their car in terms of features, which is a downer, I would say. But apart from that, there are options of YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts. There's an option of Zoom call, dash cam, camera option. You can also see the energy that is being consumed by the car, the overall stats you can see over here. Moving towards the steering wheel, you get options of pass light. You can control the wipers from here. There's also an option to adjust the steering wheel with the center button that is there on the left side, and also there's option of volume adjustment on the right side of the steering wheel, cruise control. And you can also access the camera views with the press of a button on the right side of the steering wheel. You can see the rear view, the side view, the front view. Now, according to my height, which is 5'9", good thigh support, decent legroom, good enough headroom for my height, but you get the fixed glass roof in this Model Y, and there is no option of shade or something like that for the roof of this Tesla Model Y, which I believe will become a problem in Indian peak summers because there's no shade for the sunroof of this Tesla Model Y.
Now let's talk about the ride, handling and performance and range figures of the Tesla Model Y. Let's start with the overall ride quality. In terms of comfort, the seat cushioning and the padding are good. Suspension setup absorbs well whether you are driving at low speeds in the city, at high speeds on the highway or on rough roads. The suspension provides good comfort in this car. The seat padding again is well executed. Overall, considering various conditions, the Tesla Model Y offers a good balance in terms of comfort. Now let's discuss the range figures. When I started driving, the car had around 59% of battery with a range of approximately 319 kilometers. After completing the test drive, about 33% battery remained with a range of 177 kilometers. So the overall consumed range was around 142 kilometers in this trip. Compared to other electric cars in the Indian market, the technology in this car is highly reliable. However, to own this car, you need deep pockets. The ex-showroom price is 60 lakh, and since it's a CBU unit, as I mentioned earlier, you'll have to pay extra for this. I think the biggest USP of this car to some extent is the Tesla brand itself. And if you still have that aspiration and are willing to pay for it, I believe the technology, comfort and the overall driving experience along with a decent range makes it an appealing choice.
Now back in 2022, when Royal Enfield first launched the Hunter 350, they built it as a motorcycle that was going to be beginner friendly, it was going to be easy to ride in the city, and most importantly, it was going to be comfortable. Now the motorcycle was beginner friendly because of its small size and lower weight, but it wasn't really comfortable. Now in 2025, Royal Enfield has launched an update for the Hunter 350 and are promising that the motorcycle is more comfortable than before. Hello, my name is Dhruv Paliwal, you're watching Times Drive, and today we are riding the Royal Enfield Hunter 350 to find out if it's really become a better motorcycle than before. Now when it comes to design, not a lot has changed with the Royal Enfield Hunter 350. But to mix things up, the company has introduced 3 new color options. One of them is this, the Rio White, which is standing right in front of us. Apart from that, you also get London Red and Tokyo Black. A few of the color options that were previously available with this motorcycle have now been discontinued. Another change that is a visual alteration to this motorcycle is the headlamp. It previously got a halogen unit, but now the top two variants of the Hunter 350 get an LED unit, which has also been seen on other models from Royal Enfield. Now when it comes to features that increase your practicality, there are two new features on board the Hunter 350. The first one is the tripper navigation pod, which we've also seen on other models from Royal Enfield, but now it's standard on the top two variants of the Hunter 350. Along with that, you also get a 27-watt Type-C USB charging port situated on the left side of the handlebar, and it really conveniently and quickly charges up your phone. So when we talk about the features that actually make the Royal Enfield Hunter 350 feel more comfortable, we'll have to start with the rear suspension. Now the problem with the previous Hunter 350 was that the front felt soft, the rear felt stiff. It was a mismatch, and especially when you were going over potholes, speed breakers, the rear would send a kickback, a jolt into your spine, and it made the riding experience not very smooth, and over time you could even have a backache riding this motorcycle. Now to fix that, what Royal Enfield has done is introduce progressive springs at the rear, which make the rear ride quality a bit more softer, a bit more smoother, a bit more supple. And the front and the rear ride quality now matches, giving a uniform riding experience. Other than that, the seat shape and contouring has also been changed. It's more supportive now, and it feels the cushioning is denser, making it more comfortable for longer rides. Now lastly, Royal Enfield has also introduced a slip and assist clutch for the Hunter 350, which makes the clutch action really light. Now this is easily noticeable in city limits when you're frequently changing gears, and previously your fingers would start aching by using the clutch often in the city, but that is no longer the case with the 2025 Hunter 350. Now a neat little practical upgrade that Royal Enfield has also done is increase the ground clearance. The Hunter 350 didn't really have a ground clearance issue before, but it was at 150 mm, which has now been increased to 160 mm. How has Royal Enfield done that? Quite simple. They've just repositioned the exhaust slightly, which has increased the ground clearance by 10 mm. Now when it comes to the engine and the transmission of the Hunter 350, really not a lot has changed there, and that's actually a good thing. You get the same 349cc engine from before. It makes about 20 bhp, 27 Newton meters of torque, and performance was never really a problem for the Hunter 350, and that remains the same. What I really love about this motorcycle is the availability of torque throughout the rev range. You could be in third gear, you could be in fourth gear, and just roll on the throttle even at lower speeds, and the bike instantly moves forward, giving you the opportunity to make quick overtakes inside city limits. And even if you rev it hard, yes, there are a few vibrations that creep into the handlebar, but it's not bothersome. Now there's one thing I'd like to add here. Previously, Royal Enfield bikes have been notorious for their mirrors vibrating when you rev them really hard, but I'm really glad to report that that's no longer the case with the Hunter 350. Now we've reached the end of this video, and it's time for me to sum up my opinions. And honestly, the Hunter 350 was always a well-performing motorcycle. It was really easy for beginners to ride this motorcycle because of the right sized proportions, and it was also a highly value for money offering. With the update, Royal Enfield has made it more comfortable, a little bit more practical with the added features, and that has also now made it an all-around motorcycle. So if you're someone who's a beginner, who's just learning how to ride a motorcycle, or you want a motorcycle that will be easy for you on your city commutes, then I definitely recommend that you check out the Royal Enfield Hunter 350.
And with that, we've come to the end of this edition of the Times Drive Show. We really hope you liked our show. If there's anything you have to say, anything you want us to cover, or you simply want to reach out to our team, well, we are always available on our social media handles. If you're planning to buy a new car or a two-wheeler, make sure you head on over to timesdrive.in to find out everything you need to know about every single car or two-wheeler available in the Indian market, which will help you make an informed decision. With that, it's time to wrap things up, but I'll see you same time next week only on the Times Drive Show.